Welcome back to the Big Blue Lifers podcast. I'm Mr. U. That's Jess. We're here to talk all things New York Football Giants. And guess what? For all the naysayers, we're in the win column. I don't know when the last time that's even happened. We're in the win column with a W.
It's been a while since we got one of those. I think it might have been the Colts game.
I can't even remember when that happened, but it's been quite a while. But we got a lot to talk about, not just the win, but a whole bunch of other factors surrounding the team. We're going to get into. It's a lot. This is going to be a packed episode. There's a lot going on in Big Blue Country, man. But other than that, before we get there, man, how you doing, brother? All's well in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, all's well. All's good. Happy to be able to record one of these coming off of a win. And I'm going to try to focus on the positives, even though there are some negatives to take from that game. And there's one big one that, it's going to be hard not to discuss. But all in all, I'm happy the Giants win. They had some fire in that game. We finally got to see what this vaunted defensive line could do. Hopefully we get to see that more of that next week. Shane Bowen actually called stunts, very basic ones, but all of a sudden Brian Burns is going in there untouched because they're terrified of, okay, I've got to go block Abdul Carter. I've got to go back Kayvon, or we saw Darius Alexander start winning some reps. There's a lot of good things that came from this game, and I hope they continue to build off of this. But I'm just so happy to be able to say the Giants won a game.
That's kind of what matters at the end of the day. But I want to put a pin in that. We got to come back to that because there's something I want to make a point about that. I wonder what you think about it, but we'll get into it. We got some comments already jumping in already. Let's see those. That's my guy right there, the fella. That's one half of the Herb and Rod podcast. That man, we had over a year of time in the box together, man, doing shows together, man. These guys have a fantastic show. They're on Tuesday nights, I believe, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. College football aficionados, to say the least. These guys got it. And
appreciate it.
I get that in other situations too, so it ain't just you. It's all good. But
look at Mr. Popular.
Thanks for dropping your opinions and your comments and Herb and the rest of you guys, man. But okay, so we're going to start off. I guess we just start off with the fact that the Giants won a game. Let's just start with me. Low-hanging fruit, I know, but they actually won a game, and I saw a lot of the things that you saw. But guess what? Oh man, it's still good, man. Look at this. I didn't get the memo. I'm still following you guys on YouTube. I didn't see anything like this. My apologies, guys. I'm with you guys. I'm following. Wednesday nights. Those are rough nights for me. I'm doing, a lot of stuff. But sorry about that. I'll catch up. But Giants win. I feel as though it was what this win. I don't know what's going to speak to you. What it says to me is kind of what I told you the past couple of weeks. Remember last week we talked about how these guys had wins in their hand. They kind of gave it away. This game reminded me of that because these guys, they didn't play with the same fire and intensity, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. But this is games that we were not ever out of. We were always right there in it, had the ability to turn it around, and we just couldn't make the right plays at the right time. So imagine the possibility. Imagine a 4-0 Giant team as opposed to what we've been seeing. So it's like this win right here just gave me some renewed confidence, if you will, that maybe our prediction that we had preseason might still come true. That was my first thought. How selfish am I? That's the first thing I thought about. Our preseason prediction that we got slammed for on TikTok. Perhaps this is what's going to happen still. So that's that. Let's get into the details of the win, man. I mean, okay, you know what? Let me ask you the question. I meant to ask you that because you mentioned about the fire you seen in the scene. Here's my thing. Cause I'm wondering about this, and I'm wondering where we're going to be going with this now because I saw it too. I saw the fire, I saw the intensity, and we know that. You speculated. I think it was in week 2 that you felt like the team kind of played down because Wilson was that quarterback and not Dart. And now Dart is in, and you saw the fire. How do you feel about that now? Still feel the same way about it?
Yeah. I definitely do think that it could be the case.
Okay.
I think these guys are in the locker room. They know who gives them the best chance to win.
Okay.
I think we might have even seen this a bit if Jameis was out there. I don't think they – I'm not saying this like they dislike Russ. I just think they know what Russ can do and what Russ can't do. And what they need to do to be able to win, it just doesn't fall within Russell Wilson's skill set anymore. If Dart, like one of the things that Dart had 2 plays that I just absolutely loved. And they were because of like these subtle things that he did that for so many other fan bases probably feel like just normal everyday occurrences. But with the kind of quarterback play that Giants have had recently, it felt like almost revolutionary. One was on a 3rd down where I think it might have been on that first drive or one of his first couple of drives where the pocket starts collapsing around him and he shifts up a little bit. He shifts up into the right a little bit, and then he's able to buy himself enough time. Neighbors comes across the field and he hits him on a crossing route. Just that subtle pocket movement, that ability to buy himself time without having to bail and run. And what Russ would have ended up doing in that play, at the very least from what we've seen, is he would have tried to bail out of the pocket, and then it would have been a throw it up, kind of deep ball. Or a sack. And the other one was when they were pinned back at their own 3-yard line. It was 3rd and 6. And this time he moves up a bit. Pocket's still collapsing. He does have to bail. And as he's bailing, he keeps his eyes downfield and he directs Darius Slayton to come back to the ball. And then when you watch the all 22, I don't even think Slayton really saw it, but he saw Dart bailing out, and Dart threw it, and he threw it into an area behind Slayton, but also the defender was a bit behind Slayton himself. So he didn't try to lead Slayton down the field. He led Slayton back, threw him open, as Eli used to say.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it wasn't some truly incredible throw, but it was that he managed to step out, he signaled, and maybe that did work, maybe it didn't, but then he placed the ball right where only Slayton could get it, allowed Slayton to protect himself and the ball, and it extended a drive. I don't think we got any points out of that drive, but it extended the drive. And I just think those are big things. I was really happy to see it. I still think they don't fully trust Dart yet, or maybe it was just that they didn't trust him in this battle, in this game against that level of defense. But it was great to see. He was willing to run a lot. Going to talk a bit about that a bit more. But we saw the intensity that he and Scadabo have. That it just seems like these guys feed off of each other. And I mean, you just love to see it.
Yeah, I see that. I see it with other guys too. I'm not going to leave those other guys out. It's just guys who I've seen that kind of they just look really different this time. Drew Phillips, who we'll get into a little later on. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later on in his play on Sunday. But him and some of these other young guys, I can just tell that they're just fired up and they're playing for each other. And I'm like, so what were you doing the first 3 weeks? What was exactly happening then? Because you had wins and everybody we played. You had wins in hand and you couldn't capitalize. It's like they're playing for each other now. I'm happy about it. I want to stay on the Dart conversation, but I got a question that just popped up that I wanted to talk about. I think you and I discussed it a little bit in the preseason. The Herbert Watch podcast said that if the Giants look better and Dart is the guy, that means Daboll saves his job. We talked about this a little bit last week, But you can go ahead and take that one, Jess. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I was saying you can go ahead and take that question.
Oh, I didn't see. Nothing popped up. I didn't see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it just popped up on my screen now. So I was like, I was like, what are you talking about, man? You were just in the middle of a point. If the Giants look better and Dart is the guy, does that mean Dable saves his job? I think yes.
Okay.
I think yes. I think they are going to have to win some games, but there's one thing that we've truly taken from the week leading up to this with everything that was coming out. Dart is Dable's guy. Dable pushed for the move to start Dart. Not Shane, not any of the other coaches. This was a Dable decision. And it also makes me wonder if Dable wanted to start Dart week 1. You know, like because we know how much he loves this kid. And I truly think that he would have been fine starting him week 1. I don't know if Dart would have been ready week 1. We'll never know.
I wouldn't have wanted that. I'm glad they got, some reality checks early on in the season, but week 1, no, I probably wouldn't have been able to say that. I think you and I would say, we'd love for Russ to play competently so that Dart can come out when he's ready. But you even mentioned, you know what? You didn't want to see him against the Chiefs, but you thought he might show up after that. But here he is playing against the Chargers, who were 3-0, against my guy Coach Harbaugh and Jesse Minter. It was my guys, but I didn't know what we were going to get. And Dart comes out here, and he just brings the fire, the intensity. The whole team responded to it. I mean, and that's something that I don't think we can overlook. That the whole team began to respond. Like, why are they responding? Is it because of Dart? Because Bowen is the same guy that we vilified last week and week before. And Dave Ball, we were talking about these guys getting ready to get canned. And all of them look like geniuses right now. The play calling on the offensive side look genius. Oh, come on now.
No. I think it looked way better. It looked way better. It did look way better. I still think that I had a lot of issues with the red zone play calling. And honestly, at this point, like with what we've seen, it's really when they get inside the 10 that they really start being unable to do what they want to do. I wish they had tried throwing the ball a bit more. I wish they would have trusted Dart a bit more. I don't like that, it seemed like they were calling so many just like runs up the gut. And, as much as I want, Scatterbo to get in the end zone for my fantasy team, realistically, they do need to be better. But I do think it's one of those things where did they truly get better? Or was it just they were now able to call these plays, or they were able to call some different plays because they have a guy now that can throw it to the middle of the field, that can target Theo Johnson across the middle?
That's my question.
So I don't know. I do know that I still need to see a lot more in the red zone. I don't know that because we need to be. We had 2 opportunities there. We were inside the 5 and had to settle for 3.
Well, that's normal Giants football. It feels like sometimes. But
and there was the 4th down play that should have been a touchdown, but Wan'Dale just dropped it. I wish he had chosen to throw it to Theo instead of Wan'Dale. They were right next to each other, and I would have just trusted a 6'6" guy to just go up and get the ball, rather than a 5'8" guy. But at the end of the day, that was another play where Dart was able to buy time. He hung in there a bit, was able to escape one guy, rolled out, just put his guy in a position, and this time it didn't come out with it. You also have to wonder how much of the play calling shifted because of the neighbor's injury, which I don't think we could go this whole podcast without discussing.
No, we're gonna get there. We're not done with Dart yet.
but right now it's Dart. And so again, like this is what I was saying earlier. I wish they trusted him to just throw the ball a bit more. He only had, I think, like 19 pass attempts that whole game. He needs to learn to throw the ball away on some of those rather than taking sacks. there were 6 sacks. I think 4 or 5 were credited to him.
It's a young kid, man.
Yeah, I know. He's a rookie. He's gonna have to learn to do that. But I'm just saying that he has he has so much room to grow.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's so he's intense and fiery. And you know what? Don't you like that betting what we had a couple of weeks ago? I'll take that. All that slapping the helmets with your throwing hand, that's just flat out country boy dumb right there. You stop doing that kind of stuff.
No, he needs to protect himself is what he needs to do.
Well, the sliding part, I seen the head first slides. I'm like, that's not what you want to be doing. I don't even call him.
My dad. I said this to my dad during the game. I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but I was saying this exactly what you were saying. I was saying this to my dad. I'm like, I appreciate him diving and getting these extra yards, but I prefer he actually like learn to slide. Like, because he's gonna take a headshot one of these days. And this is the second time in his last start, I think it was against the Patriots in the preseason, and now this, where he had to step out for a couple plays because he had to get checked out in the medical tent. He needs to learn to protect himself. I don't want him to not be running. I don't want him to feel like he can't on occasion, if he feels like he has maybe give them a check, show him you don't mess with me. You're not going to push me around sort of thing. But 99% of the time, he needs to slide. He needs to protect himself.
Yeah.
I don't want him to lose what makes him him, though.
No, that's good for our offense. That keeps our opponents, on edge, and we gotta have that ability. Everybody knew Russ was going to do what Russ used to do. They already knew that wasn't going to happen. But to answer that question that we posed earlier, honestly, I have to watch more games too. I have no idea if the play calling just opened up, or if these guys were reserving these plays for some other reason, or they just thought Russ couldn't do it. I don't know. I have no idea, but I love what we're seeing overall. I didn't love seeing our number one wide receiver go out with an ACL injury. I did not enjoy that. When you text me, I said, just wouldn't dare on a Sunday when our team is playing prank me like this. There's no way he would do this. I think he's not that kind of Giants, but he wouldn't prank me because
why?
Everything I was doing
about the Giants like that.
Everything I was doing was preaching the halt. When you sent me that text, I'm like, I couldn't see. I was in the middle of a meeting, and when you text me, I'm like, what? Everything came to a screeching halt, and I was thinking and doing it. I'm like, wait a minute, are you kidding me right now? I couldn't believe that. And then I heard about Javon Holland from you too. I'm like, wait a minute now.
Holland was able to come back in the game, but he had to get his neck checked out and he was out for a little bit. I didn't even really know that until I saw it coming across my phone. People were talking about it, and he was getting his neck checked out. He did come back in the game though.
Well, the only plus side of this is that one, Malik should be able to start 2026, which is good. When he can be about 10 months. Part of the preseason workouts, I'm not sure how that's going to look, but he can start 2026. At least that's a projection for him. But this conversation got us into a whole bunch of rabbit holes, for me at least. We're looking at all of the stuff with the turf and stuff. You want to get into this now, or you want to hold this for a little bit? Because we kind of I feel like we're already in the weeds right now when it comes to this turf business. Because I got a lot I want to share about that too. You ready to go that route?
Well, one of the things that I want to point out in terms of silver lining is that it was a non-contact ACL tear. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, it's slightly faster recovery. It probably won't be something that it won't hinder him as much. Again, just these are, various sports studies. I'm not sure how true all of this really is. I'm not some doctor. But from what I've read and what people have discussed and reported, hopefully the psychological element won't be as severe because he's just going to be able to be like, I'm back, I'm good. And on the Giants as a whole side of things, kind of bring this back to Dart. Well, maybe this will teach him he doesn't have to be so reliant on one guy. He can, learn to properly go through his progressions, his offense. He's not going to just kind of be like, okay, where's Malik? He'll learn to what to do properly instead of panicking. Malik's down there somewhere, and throw the ball into dangerous waters, as it were. That being said, you were talking about earlier, maybe the Giants can get to that 7-8 wins. I don't think they do, not without Malik Neighbors. As much as I like guys like Slayton and Wandale, they are incredibly limited wide receivers, particularly compared to a guy like Malik Neighbors. They are both wide receiver 3s. Slayton is maybe at best a low end 2. But I am interested to see how creative Dable can get, because this is starting to feel an awful lot like 22 in terms of the limited weapons that we have available, a young mobile quarterback, like what can we scheme up here? How can we win some games? But at the end of the day, I don't think this is a discussion about Neighbors. I do think this is a discussion about the field, because since 2014, the Giants have drafted, I believe it's like somewhere between 6 and 8 wide receivers, tight ends, or running backs in the first 2 rounds of the draft. All but one have suffered season-ending injuries due to MetLife turf. And I think I don't even remember who the only one was. Since 2020, no longer just the Giants, 15 players have suffered ACL or Achilles injuries on MetLife's turf. 15. 3 per year. Season's over just like that because of the MetLife turf. Anybody from Nick Bosa to Malik Neighbors, and I think Blake Martinez was in there too. And it is just an unacceptable thing to have happen. Like, you would think these billionaires would have these people who could tell them, okay, we could spend some extra money on, maintaining a grass field in all these various weather conditions, or, and we'll make that up by having healthier players, better teams, like Malik Neighbors puts butts in seats. Malik Neighbors makes his team better. Malik Neighbors makes that quarterback of yours a lot better. And the money's going to come. But they don't. And we have 2 billionaires here. They could have split this. Like, this isn't one guy. This isn't one family. Mara, you have what's his Woody Johnson and the Johnson fortune to help pay for this freaking grass. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard for them. Well, are they that cheap? Like, I need them to sit down and tell me exactly why, and then I will tell them, you are a billionaire. This is nothing to you. You make more in 1 year off of your freaking long-term savings compounding interest than you would need to spend on this to maintain this by yourself. And again, you don't have to. So it's just, how many guys do we have to see go down? How many injuries do we have to sustain? The season's over before anything gets changed. Like, all these people flying the plane, when to pay to have the planes fly over the stadium during the game and cursing out Mara and telling him to fire everybody. We should just have like one going over the field every 20 minutes just saying, replace the turf with grass, or get grass, something like that. Mara, touch grass. Like, geez. It's just unacceptable.
All right. I agree with pretty much everything you said. I can't really explain why these guys are not interested in putting money into this. I'm baffled by that. I really am. Uh, I've been looking at this to see what the variance is in other leagues. I mean, other parts of the league. It looks like half of the league exactly, or about 15 or 16 teams. I think it's 15 teams actually have grass and they maintenance it. And honestly, most of these aren't bigger cities or bigger markets than New York City, the mecca of sports. And they can afford to pay for grass and have it covered and treated even during the winter months. They can do that, but for some reason, we struggle with that. They have soccer games there. They have college football, some of these teams. They have concerts, all kind of stuff. And they still find a way to take care of this. I mean, I'm baffled that we can't get there. And the injury thing is just it's a pervasive issue. I'm talking about. I saw a stat today. Since 2019, 16 players suffered ACLs at MetLife. I think you already discussed that part already. And it made major impacts. I think some names like Kyle Fuller from the Bears. That team was looking good, and he went 3-14 because he was their number one. He was their number one stop out there, and he pulled up lame, and that was a wrap. The whole season went down the tubes. Aaron Rodgers actually had the same issue. I think year before last. I think it was same situation. So I don't really know why we having a problem doing this. I mean, half of the league is already moving to. I mean, some of it is geographical too. Some of them are moving to like Bermuda grass and a mixture of grass and rye. We have Bermuda out in this area, so I'm familiar with it to some degree. And the teams that have turf, I mean, some of them are not creating any problems. So it's a really weird dynamic. I don't know if the owners are taking their cues from teams that have turf that don't have that many injury issues. But all I care about is that our team is having them on this surface. I don't know why the other areas, the other teams like perhaps like the Commanders and the Chargers, well, the Chargers have a lot of injuries on their turf as well. So, but the Cowboys and Commanders, teams like that, they don't have those that much. They're not cleaning a lot of issues. So I don't know if our ownership is looking at them like, okay, is this the reason why? Maybe it's just an anomaly. It's not an anomaly. It's happening to many players. And most of them happen to be playing for our team. So something has to give here. So, I mean, we can get into which teams have what, but it's like the whole point is that they got to do something with this. And even got former players jumping in saying, please get rid of the turf. Like OBJ said, please get rid of this turf. This ain't good. This ain't working. You know, players are getting their careers shortened and whatnot. So I don't know how much time you want to spend there, but bottom line is that it's a problem. And it just cost us our number one wide receiver. And now we got to look outside to try to find somebody. I mean, we can get into that a little bit. There's a lot of names, man. Potential trade targets that make sense, I guess. Guys on other teams' practice squads, guys that are still in free agency. We had a whole list in the preseason, and these guys are still there. I'm like, how is this? What's going on here? But I think we can look at some of those names because we're going to need replacements. I like that Slayton is getting more heavily involved because I think he deserves that. We've done a wide receiver one. I think Wandale has some real ability. I've seen him have 1,000-yard seasons with subpar quarterbacking. So I know he can do great things if given the opportunity. He showed some of that on Sunday as well. He proved that, in my opinion. I think a lot of things offensively can happen for us. I'm really waiting for Fedone because I'm really hoping that we can use him as mismatches. A lot of those end zone packages, if you will, it's like, who do you want there? There was a guy that's 6'6", 6'7". Yeah, that'd make things a lot easier. We can change that horrible red zone percentage that the Giants have right now. It's not great. So it's just a thought. Lil Jordan Humphrey's the name you're going to be hearing, whether you like him or not. He is 6'4". He does know our system. He was on the team for a little while before he got cut. Now there's opportunity for him to possibly come back because obviously we need somebody to be an extra wide receiver out there. Not saying he's a wide receiver one by any stretch. He bounced around. He's a journeyman for the most part in the NFL. But we could use all the help we can get. So you heard about Isaiah Hopkins, getting him back off of the Steelers practice squad. I'll be honest. Did that solve the problem? I, I don't know, man. I'm not.
None of the
Nothing against.
nothing in free agency or practice squads are gonna really be big needle movers. I mean, there are some interesting names out there like DJ Chark, Tyler Boyd, Robert Woods.
Listen, Tyler Boyd. I don't know what happened. He kind of just fell off. But man, Tyler Boyd, that man was always open. I don't know what happened. I guess injuries caught up to him, but he was always open, man, in Cincinnati. I
like the idea of bringing Hodgins back. I like the idea of bringing Lil Jordan Humphrey. He had a good rapport there with Dart in the preseason. It felt like. So maybe that something.
Hello, man. I mean, he's shifty, man. He can make he can get headaches out there in the middle of the field, man. But as far as going beyond that, Robert Woods and guys like that, Allen Robinson, who was with us for a short time and he got bumped off. I ain't really feeling those names. Gabe Davis.
I mean, the name that everybody wants to bring up is Odell.
Yeah.
He did nothing. He had 9 catches in like 14 games or however much he actually played for Miami. He didn't do anything. It would be awesome. He's a fan favorite. It would be good for vibes.
Nostalgia.
It's not going to contribute to winning. If we were to bring him in as like kind of just a pure veteran depth piece, like very late in the year, like if we were a Super Bowl contending team and we were healthy and then like Jalen Hyatt or something went down with an injury, and we needed to sign somebody off the street, I would 1,000% say, go Odell. If we make this run and win the Super Bowl and Odell's on the team, the vibes would be through the roof. It would be, storybook, but that's not where we're at. These guys, Dable, Shane, Kafka, Bowen, all these guys, they need to win.
The fact that you bring up high, it makes it even worse. It was like, we're out here looking for wide receivers off of the street, and you're basically here, but we just haven't been using you with any kind of significance.
He got snaps. He has yet to get a target, though. But
is my point not valid?
No, I'm just saying. Sorry, it's been a long day right there. Oh my god. But there are some interesting trade names. The big issue though is, one, are we going to be in the position to be buying at the deadline? Because we're already very limited on picks. We don't have a lot of picks. We are a rebuilding team. What would it cost? 2, we would need someone on an expiring deal because we've got barely any cap space for during the season. The Giants, I think, are 30th in available cap space right now. They really don't have much. So we might have to include players in that deal, and that's a whole nother thing. A really interesting trade proposal I saw on Twitter that I don't think it would happen, but it would be kind of interesting if we were in a position to do it, is if the Raiders are really going to be sellers at the deadline, and let's say the Giants are kind of like 3-4, 4-4, like if they're able to beat New Orleans and then maybe they win one of the few games, like they beat the Bears and it's still up in the air if we're going to be able to make a playoff push or something like that. Evan Neal and a 4th round pick for Jacoby Myers to the Raiders. Jacoby Myers is on an expiring deal. Evan Neal's been a healthy scratch every game for us, and Lord knows the Raiders need help on the offensive line. I don't like having to give up draft capital for it, but we're not going to be able to. Anyway, that's like, I don't see a world where the Raiders do that, but like it would be one of the few contracts we could afford. Like people talking about DJ Moore, Chris Olave. We can't even afford to bring those guys in.
Jerry Drew signed a 3-year deal. What? I think it was year before last.
Yeah, so unless these teams are saying like just get them off, we'll eat the salary cap hit this year, like which would make no sense for them to do unless we're giving up like our second round pick, which I don't think we're still rebuilding. We shouldn't be doing that. Like I don't see a world where we can trade for anybody. So I think the most likely scenario is that we're going to have to go out and sign a Gabe Davis. We're going to have to sign Lil Jordan Humphrey. We're going to have to bring up Isaiah Hodgins off of the practice squad, the Steelers practice squad. So that's just where we're going to be at.
Yeah. I mean, that's just fair. That's fair. Out of all those names, as far as potential trade targets, I'm gonna tell you right now, Myers is definitely he's a really good player. He's floundering where he is. That man, I mean, he's basically a 1,000-yard guy. The only reason why he's comes under that is because of their quarterbacking. We got Gino now, so should be better. No, I ain't talking about Judy. Judy. Well,
you just said Gino's quarterbacking.
Yeah.
Which receiver are you talking about? Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, Jacoby Myers. That's what.
Okay, I wasn't sure who you were talking about there for a second.
Yeah, I said his whole name.
I must have missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that dude stays open, man. He can separate. I mean, he got speed. He's a deep threat. I mean, he has all that stuff. The Raiders are wasting him. So if that's something that can happen, that's a gold coin for us right there. That's a gold coin for us. I mean, wow. We eventually get better, especially if he comes on and stays on past 26. That's fantastic for us. But we may not be in that spot. And we have to look at guys like a Gabe Davis and hope that little Jordan Humphrey can make things happen for us. I mean, that could be where we are. Man. All right, let's keep moving, brother.
All right, let's see. So some more positives to take away from the game. That defense. We finally saw it seemingly kind of like click. Abdul Carter still has yet to record a sack this year, but has just been an absolute monster despite that.
Yeah.
Ryan Burns is playing at an all-pro level. He leads the league in sacks. Is second in pressures. Is second in God, what else was it? He was first, second, fourth in QB knockdowns, I think it was, and then he was second in one other thing. But either way, he's playing at like a first team All Pro level. Dexter Lawrence had a monster game. Looks like Dex again. He even almost had a pick six. You love to see it. You love to see it.
For that one.
Yeah. Kayvon Thibodeau continues to have a really good year for us and is going to maybe look for a payday in the offseason. Luckily, we picked up his fifth-year option, so we don't have to pay him just yet. We can give him another year like, hey, can you keep this up? Kind of do what maybe we should have done with Daniel Jones, but whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
But Andrew Phillips, really good bounce back after a really rough game against the Chiefs. He was one of the highest graded players on the defensive side of the ball in the whole league, according to PFF. Just a whole lot of really positive things. Deontay Banks made a play on the football and then sucked in pursuit angles and tackling. Tyler Nubin, don't know what happened to him this year. All of a sudden, he's taking all the wrong angles on everything.
Yeah, I don't.
Javon Holland made some good plays. Bobby Okereke, another hit or miss game. Looked a bit more consistent, though, compared to how he looked in previous games. A lot of people were pointing out on that, 54-yard Omarion Hampton run that Bobby Okereke kind of blew that play and, pursued the wrong angle. But Carl Banks pointed out that I think it was Darius, how do you pronounce the last name? Marsal?
Yeah, more Sal, I guess.
Murasau.
Yeah.
Darius
People Murasau.
Murasau actually, the way he stuffed the blocker, he stuffed him with the wrong shoulder. So essentially, he should have been turned a different way, which would have allowed Okereke to get in there. But because Darius didn't kind of Darius messed up, that messed Okereke up and allowed Hampton to spring the 54-yarder. So if that is true, then can't really put that one on Okereke. But it's one of those things where I'm really hoping we can see this again, especially that pass rush against the Saints. The Saints offensive line just took a blow. Their center, Cesar Ruiz, might be missing the game this Sunday. So will I, because I will be doing apartment tours. So hopefully the Giants don't screw me. Although if I have to miss a game, but I am a lot happier this week. And hopefully Shane Bowen continues to call these blitzes and with stunts. They used Abdul Carter more as a pass rusher in this game than they had any game prior, and he was one of the best players in all of football. Just keep up the good work. Don't do these good things one week and then do the opposite the next. That's all I ask. Is that too much to ask? I don't feel like it is.
It's not too much to ask. Yeah, I love what was going on there. I was watching this game. Now, I'm just going to make a comment about Drew Phillips. I want to get back to a guy that you mentioned who we don't talk about this much on the show these days because he's not on the team anymore. We'll come back to that in a second, though. But I love what Drew Phillips did. I mean, he held Lab McConkey down, one reception for 11 yards. And that's the guy I was really concerned about because everybody already knows that Quentin Johnson has some kind of magical resurgence where he's become a number one wide receiver all of a sudden. I don't know what turned on, but now he's not dropping passes all over the place. He's actually involved and he's productive and he's getting open. He's scoring. And Keenan Allen, who nobody's going to come inside to return to the Chargers and be a wide receiver one again, but he has those kind of numbers as well. And it's like, so what's going on here? So that's when I knew that defensively we're going to be keying on the two guys who's going to be left open, Lab McConkey. And he has the ability. He hasn't done it this year so far. I don't know what's going on with him, but last year he had over 1,200 yards last season. So he's able to do that. I was watching him like, who's going to be guarding him, man? I know they're going to be a Debo, so who's going to be guarding him? I wanted to just see it. And Phillips stepped up, held that man down. So I am also excited about the energy that we talked about earlier, but love how the defense seems to be playing overall right now. But let's come back to your boy who you mentioned, Daniel Jones. I posed a question for us to think about, which I thought it would it'd be interesting to talk about it. What if DJ won MVP? We can laugh about it, but what if that happens? What would that say about us? Because guys leave us, man, and do incredible things, and nobody seems to recognize that, okay, maybe it's not them. Maybe it's us. So what would happen if DJ won MVP? What would be your first reaction?
I'd be happy for him. I mean, I know you don't like it when I bring this up, but the only reason I'm ever mad at Saquon is because of who he went to, not that he left. I think it was the best for DJ and for us that he's not on the team anymore. Not all his fault. Certainly a good chunk of it was, but not all of it. What caused his time here to be so turbulent, let's say. But at the end of the day, he's playing well. The Colts look good, and I'm happy for him. What that would say about us is that it's a coaching issue. That for the same reasons that, we have been saying for years, no GM has been able to get this offensive line right. He took so much punishment. it was crazy. Here in New York, DJ, he got scared, he got hesitant. These things happen, and I'm happy for him. I would think that it is another massive blow against the likes of, honestly, this one would fall more on Dable than Shane, in my opinion. But Saquon, Xavier McKinney, Will Hernandez, Evan Ingram, Daniel Jones now, even Eli Apple for a very brief time period. Kadarius Toney has the record for longest punt return in Super Bowl history and nearly scored on that play. Like, these things happen. And, for the most part, it doesn't upset me. The only one that really ticks me off is Saquon. But that's about who he went to, not that he left. So
fair enough.
The New York media probably got into like DJ's head. I mean, it's not easy playing in New York.
Not easy to do anything in New York.
New York, it's the media capital of the world, man. It is
not easy at all.
Your football or basketball here, your football, basketball out in LA, like the media, it's just different, man.
Hockey
some
too,
of these
man.
guys aren't built for it.
It's all of that. Well, I thought it was a great question to think about, because I think it will highlight, maybe it's time for to start making excuses and say, you know what, this is on us. We talked a lot about the organizational issues that we discussed that the past several weeks, even a month. We've been talking about that, where players leave and they just do great things. Right now we got players that were on this team that are leaving the league in some areas for a different team. Xavier McKinney is leading the league right now, and some other people, two other names I can't think of at the moment. But they have massive turnarounds all of a sudden. And it's like, we got to come to grips with the fact that, you know what? It's not the players that came and they just happen to do better somewhere else, or they get to the coaching better. It's something wrong with us. Because until we fix that, we're going to be hearing this over and over again. And I don't know if, I know the question was asked by Herman Raj if is Dayball safe? I guess I forgot the exact question, but does Dayball retain his job and whatnot? Anybody that comes through as the next GM and next head coach, they can't just be any name. After all we've seen now, I'm like, it has to be somebody who has the ability to transform the organization. I know you can't always get a player at every position that can do that. You got to develop these guys and stuff, but at that spot, at head coach and at GM, we guys that can transform this thing, because we still have basically a 14-year drought, basically, of ineffectiveness and being at the bottom of almost every statistic that's out there. That can't continue to keep happening. On a quick side note, non-football story, we heard from the Giants owner John Mara saying he has a situation with cancer going on, so definitely going to be thinking about and praying for him. That's a rough situation. I didn't know that. I heard he was going to have an announcement, but I didn't know that was going to be the announcement. But did you get a chance to hear that? You heard about it too?
Yeah, and obviously, for all the issues that we as fans have with the Giants and Mara and his family and how they've run things, this is, at the end of the day, it's just football. It's just a game. This is much bigger than that. I pray for him and his recovery, and I wish him and his family nothing but the best. And it's not easy to deal with. So
fair enough. All right. So any thoughts on that part about the head coach and the GM? If not, we'll move on to our final question for the evening.
No, the truth is, though, I don't think there's really anybody out there with like real experience that would make sense to bring in to try and build up this team. I think if we are going to bring in like a GM or something, I think we should target like someone from the Eagles, someone from Seattle, like some of these teams that have been really good at drafting and building and cap management. And then I don't know who else we would bring in.
I I
You
mean,
know, for
I
the
don't know.
coaches. I mean, what
Yeah,
coach is out there that's a vet? You know, who would
it's
we
not
bring
free.
in?
I mean,
What's
they
his
ain't
face
sitting.
from the Cowboys? Who was just let go last year?
The who?
The McCarthy. Like McCarthy's a name that would come. Bill Belichick, John Gruden.
Mm,
You know, guys like that. None of those names really. I think.
I'm
I mean,
struggling with.
Gruden wants to coach Dart 1,000%. He loves Dart, but I
That's
don't
nice
know.
to know. I mean,
But he's another one of those guys that wants power and control. They had some of the worst drafts with him, kind of
I
doing
don't
that.
remember this. Just because you love Dart, that's not going to get the job done.
No, I know that, and I 1,000% agree.
No, we need some. I won't say there's nobody available. I haven't done enough research. I guess that's probably going to end up being a preseason homework assignment for me because I can't do that right now. Unless somebody's getting fired this season, I can't mess with that right now. That's too much for me to start digging into. But in the preseason, I think I'm pretty much committed to doing that because we got to start looking at it, especially if there's a chance that he's on a hot seat. Then if he's not, I won't waste my time. If he is, I'm still doing a little bit of research because there's definitely somebody out there on both fronts, head coach and GM, that we can definitely probably say, you know what, this team has a future. They can see it in our team, and they can see the ability to solve things through the draft and through free agency. And yeah, because our money's going to be a lot better, I think, in 2026. So I think it's going to be a lot more palatable to a potential GM and head coach. I posted a question. I guess we can end this if you have any more thoughts. But I put this question I had now that Darth in, and even though it wasn't, a spectacular offensive display, I know everybody wants to have him throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I get it, but come on, man. Dude's a rookie, and he helped us win in different ways with his legs, scoop passes to Theo Johnson, and throwing the ball in the right spot in the short game. I mean, what else do you want? I mean, this is a rookie here still, so give him some time to, kind of find himself. I'm okay with that. But seeing what's happened, and now it feels like we're at the point of no return. That's how I feel, anyways. I think we can't go back now.
No, we can't. There's no going back.
Just about a couple of weeks ago, it's like we can't go back. This is it now. So if this doesn't work out, which I believe it will. But if it doesn't work out, hypothetically, we're like, okay, so now we go back into the draft. Looking at guys like Drew Allen and all kinds. I'm like, so I want this to work. But Wilson and Winston, or Wilson and Winston, are we trading either one of these guys or both of them? I'm probably gonna take one of them.
Definitely not both. Here's the crazy thing. I think if we were to trade Jameis, I think we could get more for him than Russ at this point. But if we had to trade one of them, I want to trade Russ, not Jameis. One, it would just free up more cap space.
Yeah.
I think Jameis might be better at this point.
To be traded?
If we could get a 5th for Russell Wilson, I would take that trade in a heartbeat right now. Like, hey, Cincy,
who's doing 5th? That?
Yeah, I'd do that right now.
Who's doing that?
No one. That's the thing, though. Like, I think we could maybe get like a 4th at absolute most for Jameis. But we have Jameis for 2 years. Like, he's supposed to be the backup next year.
Yeah.
That's why we gave him 2 years. That's why we gave him a 2-year deal. Then as for but for Russ, like, I would love to trade Russ. Get off of his contract, free up some cap space right now. Here, let me actually see. How much would it Russell Wilson contract? How much sport?
I gave you those numbers.
It's 1 year, $10 million deal. If we were to cut him, it would be $11 million dead cap. But if we were to trade him, I'm not seeing how much we would clear up. How much would?
Yeah. Well, he's definitely the guy. Out of these two, he's definitely the guy to be traded if you're going to trade somebody, especially because of the contract situation. We got to have a backup. We can go on the street and try to find some backups off the street, but not many are going to be better than Jameis. strong arm, experience, etc. But yeah, if we get some kind of draft capital back for Wilson, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think
I
we
don't
would
know,
be
I don't
clearing
know
up too much cap space.
possible.
But yeah, if we could trade Russ and like for a fifth, I would do that. I just don't think any team would be willing to do that.
Yeah, he had a lot of money in Denver. I don't know what's carrying over. Kind of hard to see it right now, but no worries though. So we can see, I guess, that in the short run is that Dart is establishing himself as the guy, and that's what we wanted to see. I didn't think it'd be this early, but here we are. We're in the midst of it right now, man. Any closing thoughts? Any other questions or points we need to be touching on? Did we miss anything regarding the Giants?
I don't think so.
This was a big episode. We had a lot going on this episode. This was really good. Did you miss anything?
No, I think we got everything. I don't have too much more to say. Like, we were able to hit on a lot more today than I thought we were going to.
Yeah, a lot. I think my lingering thoughts are just concerned about this, how we will place Malik. I mean that in the most respectful way because he's a wide receiver one. I don't know if there's any wide receiver ones out there on the street looking for us, waiting for us to call them. But I've seen teams, as a matter of fact, teams all over the league are in the same situation. Tyreek Hill went out. There's a whole bunch of names of people who are number one at their position. Aaron Jones with the Vikings went out. He's on IR. Joe Burrow, definitely our top quarterback, probably the most yards out of all the quarterbacks per capita every year. He's out on IR, might not come back to mid-December. So everybody's dealing with something like this. I just feel like if we have any kind of competency in the replacement that comes in, we can keep the forward momentum that's happening right now. I just don't know if it's happening through a trade, like we talked about, or this is going to be relying on free agency because guys like OBJ, you just don't know what you get with them because it's been so long that they've been out. I like Gabe Davis. A lot of people don't really care for him. I liked a lot of what I saw in Jacksonville mostly. In Buffalo, it was well, let me rephrase that because in Buffalo he did really, really good. Definitely his first year there. He had Josh Allen throwing him the ball too, so factor that into all of this stuff. But he did very, very well out there. He was definitely the wide receiver 1B out there for sure. And that was with I think it was with him and Diggs. I think it was. So he has the capability for that. Is he healthy enough to accomplish that? I don't know, but how many options do we have? I mean, Little Jordan. I mean, I mentioned the height and red zone possibilities there, but beside that, I mean, he knows the system. But Gabe Davis would be a good installation if we can use that talent. But beside that, I don't know where we're getting it from because we mentioned Hyatt and nobody's even putting him like, okay, don't forget about Hyatt. We're all forgetting about him. Why is that happening? I don't understand. Bo Collins is still here. I'm going to mention him. I don't want to forget about him. Just a chance for him to step up, perhaps. Maybe we're not going on the street and getting anybody. Maybe we're going to, I guess, quote unquote, elevate him to the next man up status, whatever that means. Think he can handle it?
I want to say yes.
The vote of confidence. That sounds wonderful.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, he was a UDFA. He's a rookie. He's a undrafted free agent pickup signee rookie. So it's not like I have a lot to go off of on him. Last time we saw him, he was dropping passes left and right in that preseason game. So, but maybe he pulls a Victor Cruz. Just UDFA comes out of nowhere, gets that roster spot, gets his opportunity, never looks back. Who knows?
All right. Well, this has been good, man. Our Giants got a win. We're facing who's up next? New Orleans, right? It's a home game, right? They're coming to MetLife?
No, away game at New Orleans.
All right. Do they have turf? Just thought I'd ask.
New Orleans Stadium.
It's kind of important, especially after all that's been going on. It's kind of important.
It is artificial turf.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, listening, everybody. You can find all of these this episode on all of our social media platforms and the Big Blue Lifers YouTube channel. That's Jess. I'm Mr. U. We're out of here. Thanks again for watching and listening. Go Big.